West African leaders are meeting in Nigeria later to discuss sending troops to northern Mali. They're hoping to help the interim government recapture the region from rebel groups. Mohamed Adow reports from the Nigerian capital, Abuja.
Preparations are underway in West Africa for the deployment of a 3,300-strong force to retake northern Mali from rebels. Leaders of the Economic Community of West African States, or ECOWAS, are meeting to approve a detailed plan for troop deployment. This is a necessary step to get the approval of the United Nations, which has to give a mandate for the ECOWAS force. Under the leadership of Ivorian President Alassane Ouattara, ECOWAS is planning for a phased approach to its intervention in northern Mali. The regional body says the plan is to concentrate initially on retraining the Malian army and maintaining security in the government-controlled south. ECOWAS hopes the presence of the forces on the ground will persuade the rebels to negotiate. But ECOWAS and its Western allies also believe that ultimately military action will be needed to tackle the most hardline of the rebels. The crisis in Mali started last March when renegade soldiers led by this man staged a coup in protest against what they called the government's failure to stop a rebellion in the north. The coup leader then promised to crush the rebels. But in a few weeks, the entire region of northern Mali, almost a third of the country, came under the control of the separatist TUAREG rebels. The largely secular Tuaregs have since declared the north an independent state, which they have named as the word. Other armed groups like Ansar-ed-Din and Unity and Jihad say their aim is to impose a strict interpretation of Islamic law in Mali. Though a military intervention in Mali has the support of France and other Western nations, some of its neighbors, including Algeria, oppose it. However, it is the UN Security Council that will have the final word.
Our correspondent Mohamed Adow is in Abuja for us. Mohamed, what is the plan here?
Well, Elizabeth, the plan is to come up with a deliberate and detailed military plan to retake over the north of Mali from the rebels. And the West African leaders whose countries are members of the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, are about to begin a meeting where they are going to approve a plan that was crafted by their defense ministers. This plan is to beat the deadline that was given by the UN Security Council, which lapses on the 26th of this month. And in the plan, ECOWAS wants to phase out its military deployment to Mali. It first wants to emphasize retraining and building the capacity of the Malian army that's still smarting from defeats that it faced in the hands of the rebels in the north earlier on in the year. And they say the presence of the troops on the ground might force some of the rebels to negotiate. However, they're not ruling out a military offensive against some of the extreme elements of the rebels, including Al-Qaeda in the Maghreb.
And Mohammed, how tight a grip do the rebels have in the north here, and how difficult is it going to be? What are the challenges in reclaiming northern Mali?
Well, the challenges are many. The rebels have got a tight grip on most of the country, although they have the territory divided among themselves. But some of the bigger challenges, Elizabeth, are that within Mali itself, it's only recently that the new president agreed to the ECOWAS intervention, and he only agreed to it if it's going to get approval from the UN Security Council. Also, we know that the coup leaders are unhappy with the intervention by ECOWAS, and they say the ECOWAS is trying to reverse the coup that they carried out earlier on in the year. And as we know, although they have handed over power to civilian rule, they are still wielding considerable influence. Also, there is a need to unite Mali's politicians before any intervention can take place or succeed. But trying to untangle Mali's deeply entrenched domestic problems, some believe, before a military attack would give the rebels in the north time to regroup, recruit more forces, and also dig in for a fight.
That's Mohamed Adow joining us from the Nigerian capital, Abuja. Mohamed, thank you.